There is a very serious illness, and even though it's not that common, it affects a lot of people's lives, and you can find it in each part of the world. Multiple sclerosis, or MS. We can say that MS is a very serious and complicated disorder because it completely affects the nervous system. The human nervous system is probably the most complicated thing we know of, and it's the wiring harness of our entire body. And if something acts up, everything acts up. And since it's so complicated, when MS takes place, it has a lot of symptoms. Like for example, your eyes can lose vision. It could ruin the way you walk or completely ruin your stability. And that means the person suffering cannot even walk. You can see all these symptoms in any patient that has MS. In their vision, in their stability, shaky body part, pain, dizziness, different body parts falling asleep, and you can even have trouble speaking. Some have even suffered from depression and terrible stress because of it. And because of this, the whole disease gets even more complicated. This complicates the situation for doctors as well, because they have to figure out themselves on how to help out their patient. Not all patients are the same, so there's not get better help quick scheme. It's not like diabetes where it's more straightforward. It's kind of rare to find two different people suffering from MS that they have the same exact symptoms. So this is how complicated it is. Before they give any type of prescription, doctors have to make sure how severe it is. The year is 2024 and doctors have not figured out on why a person gets MS. Right now around the world, about 3 million people have MS. This disorder can cause a lot of negative effects, but it's not considered fatal. Of course, a lot of different things could happen that makes it fatal, but the disease itself is not. Even though scientists have not figured out what MS actually is, but they know what it does to the human body. Just like we said, it attacks the nervous system. The MS attacks the myelin part of the nervous system. But what the hell is myelin? If you want the simple answer, myelin is basically the cover on the wires of the neurons. And if your wire has proper protection, nothing happens to it. But the thing is, the MS attacks the myelin, destroying the cover on your neurons. And when that gets destroyed, the protection is all gone. But what attacks myelin? This is the thing that makes MS very complicated, because scientists and doctors are not 100% sure, but they have a lot of theories. Through recent history, doctors thought it was a virus that's doing this, a virus named Epstein-Barr. They also called this virus EBV. There were other theories, but nowadays, doctors and scientists went back to the original theory that it's the virus called EBV that's doing all the damage. Don't think EBV as a virus like AIDS or like COVID. EBV doesn't negatively affect the human body because 95% of humans have this virus inside their system, but only 0.5% of people have MS. After examining the virus itself, they realized that it's not actually the virus's fault, because most people are not affected. But why doesn't it affect everyone? And that's why they continued their research specifically on people that actually have MS instead of the virus itself. They wanted to figure out what the virus is doing in the person that has MS, not the EBV virus itself. This is exactly when they realized that it's not 100% EBV's fault. It's actually the immune system. The immune system thinks the virus is a problem and it wants to get rid of it. But unfortunately, your immune system is at fault here. It wants to destroy the virus, but in return, it damages your nervous system. The interesting part is that scientists realize the people that have MS see the EBV virus exactly like the myelin because they have very similar DNA codes. And alongside destroying the virus, they also destroy the myelin that protects the human nervous system. Figuring out 100% on what happens in the person with MS is one of the biggest things doctors and scientists have done, because after decades of researching, they finally figured out on what happens, and they can figure out on how to get rid of it. Scientists have figured out that to help people with MS in short term is to weaken their immune system so they don't attack the myelin of their body. But this is just a band-aid fix. But there is another hopeful message, and that is scientists have realized that the EBV in the human body, which is in 95% of people, don't affect the body whatsoever, not negatively, not positively. We know that because 5% of the world doesn't have this. So that's why they're trying to figure out on how to completely make this virus go extinct. Another problem or challenge they face is that this virus is not easy to kill. It's a very large and strong virus, and not any old vaccine will get rid of it. But of course, finally, they figured out if they get rid of the EBV virus, they can get rid of MS. So they're trying to figure out on how to create a vaccine. But a vaccine like this is not something that could be made very quickly. It needs years of research and testing before they actually give it to humans. They've been working on this vaccine for about a year now, but they haven't finished it. But on the plus side, they are very positive and they are hopeful that they will fix this issue, and maybe, just maybe, they will get rid of MS forever. Thankfully, there is a lot of medications doctors give to people suffering from MS to help them out in a short term, but hopefully there will be a long-term cure for people suffering with this brutal disease.